If you're part of the sandwich generation, have you heard this term before? I know you have. Well, you probably know that's kind of a tough spot to be in. I think I'm there right now.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you get to the point where you know your parents need you more. You still have kids that need you.
Yeah.
Even young adult children still need you. So it is a difficult time.
It is a difficult time. Let's define it. So the sandwich generation, as we are finding ourselves, is when somebody still has kids that need your help, but also aging parents that might need your help. And, you have all these pressures coming at you from all different angles. And, it might be that mom and dad have to move back in with you so you can take care of them. And then, kiddos lose their job and they're moving back in and they're bringing their spouse and the dog. I mean, so, it's a full house. But with that comes a lot of expenses, and it's not just financial. I mean, there's a lot of other changes that happen, and there's, emotional pressures and other things that go with this sandwich generation. And, we've talked about there are a lot of different scenarios where your kids and your parents are both going to need you at the same time. And so that's something that we need to make sure that we're ready for.
Let's talk about the potential impact. Go a little deeper into that for me, Megan, because if you've been if you've been the caregiver for your parents, you've spent time doing that, and then maybe you're still helping young kids, and you and I both have young adult children who seemingly should be on their own, but they still need us, and you never know when they might need you on a higher level.
Right. Well, and let's step back a little bit. When I was going through school and, graduating and things like that, I was kind of, mom and dad were like, we love you, but we have 4 kids and we'll do as much as we can, but you're pretty much on your own. So, I had to put my, my schooling I had to pay for. Luckily, I got some scholarships and things like that. And my kids, we've kind of done the same. We've been able to at least pay for their college, but they're going to step out into the world. And it's not like it was when my parent, you didn't even need an education. You went into a trade, right, or you got, somebody trained you on what to do. My dad was a roofer. So my father, my grandpa had a roofing company, and my dad just went into the family business.
It's what you do.
It's what you do. So there wasn't some of the same expenses that go into now having to help your kids kind of even get their footing underneath them. And so I think from a sandwich generation perspective, it's trying to understand where you're okay putting your energies, your time, your talents, but also your treasures, which would be your money. How do I know how much I'm comfortable giving to my parents or giving to my kids? And there's not a one size fits all for it. So it's just kind of navigating the differences and seeing how we can help and how we can be the most impactful.
Let's talk strategies then. What can we do? What should we do if we're starting to feel that pinch of being caregiver for both sides of the sandwich?
Yeah, I think that we need to understand the financial impact of the decisions that we're making. If we're going to sit down and maybe help mom and dad with some of those expenses, maybe a memory care unit, like my mom had to go into a memory care unit. If I'm going to help pay for some of that, then I need to understand what the impact is to my financial future. The last thing we want to do is help to a detriment of what it could do to you, but also, I feel like this isn't really my money anyway. I'm just holding it. It was God's gift to us anyway. So I want to be able to use it for things that are important to me, like my family. So understanding the financial impact, I think, is huge. And then I think the other thing to consider too is how far do you want to go with helping? Your parents is one thing, but with your kids, I want to give them a leg up, but I don't want to make it so easy for them that they're not putting in the effort, right?
Boundaries come into play there a little bit. And those are the hardest of all, I think, because you were never going to stop parenting.
No, and it doesn't matter, you always need your parents, and that relationship is so important. But from the parent perspective to the child, I want to give them a little bit of help, but I want to make sure that it's okay for them to stumble a little bit. It's okay for them to not be able to buy the things that they want in the time that they want because they have to save for it.
It's part of the process.
It is part of the process. And I look back and, my parents, God love them and I miss them so much, but financially they were able to help a little bit, but most of it was on me. But And now I'm at the point where I appreciate it so much more. And I'm so much more protective of my dollar because it took a lot to earn that dollar. And so I want to instill that in my kids.
That's why my dad presented me with the vehicle that he did when I was 16. You will appreciate the one that you get later in life because of this.
Because
one. He wasn't going to give me a nice car.
Mine was
no
a
way.
1984 Cutlass Sierra
81
Oldsmobile.
Toyota Corolla.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we had amazing first cars.
They put a balloon on it at least to make it all exciting. It was not exciting to
Not
me.
exciting.
But it got me around.
Yeah.
And I think, we appreciate things.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being a little bit humbled when you're 16.
Yes. Tell my 16-year-old that quite often.
All the time.
But this is great insight. And I know we have just a little bit of time. Your trust process comes into play so often here too.
Yes, so thank you for bringing that up. So the process that we walk our families through, the trust process, incorporates tax-efficient strategies, risk and investment management, understanding Medicare and long-term care, strategic income planning, and then transferring of wealth. So it takes you through what are my income needs, what kind of assets have I accumulated, and how do I invest those assets to then in turn provide income for me so that I won't outlive. And then once I'm gone, how does that money transfer? And I think understanding each piece of that process is really important, and we can walk our families through it and make sure that we've got it covered.